You are about to see a 20-minute debate on Menlo Park Measure T. The ballot reads, shall the voters affirm the decision of the Menlo Park City Council to approve the Menlo Gateway project and amend the city's general plan to permit construction of offices, research and development space, a hotel, health club, and restaurant on property located east of Highway 101 near Marsh Road. This program is produced by the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center.
Hi there, I'm Rich Klein. I'm the mayor of Menlo Park, and I want to thank everybody for giving me an opportunity to explain why I support the Menlo Gateway project and why I voted for it. And I think when we're through, I think people will understand and probably agree with me that it was the right vote. I am speaking as a mayor. I'm also speaking as a resident living in the town with the same desires to preserve the town long-term, to preserve very much the charm of Menlo Park. At first, when the project came to City Council, this is a couple of years ago, I was against the project. It was large, and I didn't know much about it except that it was sizable. And after I've had a chance over the last few years to have more data come in and third-party research, community feedback, my mind did change. And I want to explain some of that to you now so that you can understand exactly how my mind changed and some of those support points. First, the project itself is the biggest the city's going to face, and with that there needs to be significant mitigations at the same time to allow the city to absorb a project of this size. The first part of the benefit package that comes with this project is the obvious hotel tax that's proposed at $1.5 million a year, and that's annually year after year after year. That would be one of the top sales producing or revenue producing vehicles in town that we have. The second component to that is also the potential to revitalize the waterfront there in the area and to give a big boost to the industrial sector, which will encourage more jobs. The project itself will bring in thousands of jobs and potentially long-term employ thousands of people year in and year out. The project also has with it brings in 20% reduction of its own traffic. As well as bringing in the LEED certification, the different environmental packages that come with the building that probably make it more of a state-of-the-art building than we have in this region. These are all things that were brought in pretty much with the project as it came in. When we negotiated and sat down at the table, we had a couple of concerns, and the first is that perhaps the revenue would go away or the hotel wouldn't be built. We were able to secure a revenue guarantee for the life of the project that will allow us to at least make sure that we're getting revenue from the project every year as well. We were also able to establish that we could get revenue for the schools. The project itself will provide $1.5 million to the Belhaven community for capital improvements, but also $500,000 for the regional schools in the area that may be impacted. The bigger point that needs to be made about this is, as we've gone through this debate, and as I've said, I was skeptical about the project, the most important aspect is that we were asked to outsource the studying of the market and of the capitalization of the project and what the project would bring in. We did that, a fiscal impact analysis, a market analysis funded by our city, not by the project developer. The outside consultants came in and told us this was a good deal. You have a good deal on the table, you've negotiated the right deal, and you should take this because there are not many projects like this left in this area. That had a big impact on my decision. It should on anybody. That's our own consultants telling us. Opponents of this project will tell you that there's more traffic than we can absorb. 20% of the traffic is mitigated. And over the long term, you're going to see more electric vehicles, more hybrid vehicles that will reduce some of that impact on the greenhouse gases. The opponents will also tell you that there's going to be 1,800 homes that are going to come into the community. It won't be 1,800 homes. 6% on a regional housing allocation will take that down to 100 homes over the term of the project, and it will be scattered in multiple districts. So the home impact doesn't exist as well. We will get jobs. We will get revenue year in and year out. And as the project is evaluated, the final step of this is looking at the broad city implications. What we have in our city today is a flat revenue line that from 1998, our sales tax will be the same in 2018. There are no revenue vehicles left, and this is one of the rare opportunities for us to seize control of our future, manage it, negotiate an outcome that's a win for everybody. We have support of the Belhaven community, support of the industrial sector, the property owners, and the business owners. And we have support from the Planning Commission, the Environmental Commission, and the City Council after 3 years of debate. This project is a good project. It may look large, but trust me, once you see the data, once you see the information we've all had a chance to see, you'll see that this is a great project for Menlo Park. Thank you.
When I talk with fellow residents, I find that very few know much about the ballot measure. When they learn more, nearly all support vote no on T because they agree that the negatives outweigh the positives. I'm going to outline some of the reasons now. T asks voters to approve exclusive changes to Menlo Park's general plan that would allow a single project that is proposed and promoted by the Bohannon Development Company. The developer has negotiated special and unique provisions to build a hotel in exchange for the rights to build 3 massive and lucrative office towers over a 20-plus year period. The project violates the city's current general plan and zoning rules. The exclusive amendments allow development 4 times taller and 3 times larger than current laws, making the project the largest in Menlo Park's history. It is not part of a comprehensive plan. These one-off changes apply only to this project, not to the other properties located between this project's 2 sites and not to the larger area where it's located in the General Industrial District near 101 Marsh and Willow, that is Menlo Park's current traditional financial breadbasket. Although we are supportive of a hotel, these ad hoc changes set bad planning precedents, and the project's remaining 1.5 million square feet of auto-centric office, health club, and parking structures create negative impacts, but no net financial benefit to Menlo Park. So what are the impacts? The Environmental Impact Report concludes that the project creates a dozen significant and irreversible environmental impacts that cannot be mitigated. Here are a few. Traffic. Because the project is not near transit, the number of cars will increase from 2,000 to more than 11,000 daily. Rush hour is already horrendous on Willow, Marsh, and 101. This will add to the existing gridlock and lengthen delays from Bayfront Expressway to Middlefield and beyond. Aggravated drivers will increase the already frightening cut-through traffic in our neighborhoods. Sustainability. The project is not sustainable. In fact, this single project increases the entire city's greenhouse gas emissions, primarily from traffic. At the same time, our goal is to decrease them substantially. The project uses 10% of the city's remaining water allocation, risking insufficient water supplies in drought years. It exacerbates the already critical jobs housing imbalance by adding nearly 3,000 direct and indirect new jobs and no housing. The jobs are expected regionally, but there aren't any here, and it's equivalent to nearly 2 Willow neighborhoods. Because Menlo Park is already built out, this adds to the pressure to build high-density housing throughout the city. Menlo Park's 3 K-8 school districts won't receive any of the property taxes eventually generated by the project. The property taxes allocated for local education will benefit the Sequoia Union High School District in an amount that represents less than 0.6% of its current budget. You've heard the reason to approve T is for jobs and revenue, but there aren't any near-term benefits. The developer has negotiated the right to delay starting the project for up to 8 years. The long rollout of the project over 20 years means no new jobs or hotel tax revenue or any other payments soon. Meanwhile, uncertainty about the future may make businesses already located in the affected properties less willing to invest in near-term growth and job creation. The proposed office space means less potential sales tax revenue. The project area is currently zoned to favor sales tax generating businesses. The proposed general plan amendments favor offices that only generate property taxes, which are capped by Prop 13, and not sales taxes that aren't capped. The upshot, only the hotel makes sense for the city. Once fully operational, which may be 10 to 13 years from now, the hotel could generate substantial tax revenue. This is attractive, and we support it. However, nearly 85% of the project generates no net financial benefit and produces many irreversibly harmful impacts to our residential quality of life that the project doesn't address and doesn't solve the city's budget problems. The negatives outweigh the positives. There are cleaner, less harmful, and more sustainable ways to generate revenue and to balance the current budget. And there is time for planning. Join me and current and past mayors Jack Morris, Cal Jones, Paul Kalachi, Andy Cohen, and many other fellow residents. Vote no to allow Menlo Park to finish plans that promote tax-generating businesses and balance the impacts of growth before reconsidering this project. Thank you.
We go now to the two rebuttal statements.
Hi, my name is John Boyle. I'm the Vice Mayor of Menlo Park. I'd like to speak a little bit again about why the City Council is in favor of this Measure T and why I personally, as both a council member and a private resident and citizen, are in favor of it. Let me first recap some of the key positives because I think it's important to keep this in context. This project is one that will generate a substantial amount of revenue for the city and for our community at large. Then it's over $14 million in one-time benefits, plus an estimate of $1.6 million in net revenue increase for the general fund. In addition, there's benefits for other agencies and other districts surrounding the city itself, including the various school districts, the fire districts, and more. The schools are expected to receive overall the education in schools of $1.8 million for our local schools. Now that again includes not only Menlo Park, but other surrounding schools and the community colleges. $600K of that is estimated to go to the Sequoia Union School District, which includes, of course, Menlo Atherton, which is the primary high school for Menlo Park. It's important to note, though, that all of the education benefits do go to the benefit of our students, not only Menlo Park students, of course, but kids throughout the entire community. It's certainly the case that many, if not most, of the Menlo Park kids will end up going to Menlo Atherton, as well as potentially the community colleges someday. So there's a substantial benefit for the education community as well as the city itself. The second key area is the jobs. In addition to the revenue benefits, this project's going to generate substantial numbers of not only construction jobs, but long-term quality jobs for residents of Menlo Park as well as, again, residents of the surrounding communities. I'd like to also then highlight the sustainability improvements that have made to this project. They've gone to extensive lengths to reduce the traffic impacts, to increase the greenness, if you will, of this project. In fact, a commitment to make it carbon neutral, including mitigations, payments to do carbon offsets, as well as the reductions of the carbon output actually of the project itself. This will be a showcase building for sustainability. It will be far beyond, certainly far beyond what's there now, but far beyond any other building really in Menlo Park. I'd like to quickly address also some of the comments that were made previously. You know, there's a suggestion here, excuse me, that this project is out of scope or too big for Menlo Park, and by far the biggest project in Menlo Park's history. Actually, it's very consistent with the Sun Microsystems campus, which was also about 1 million square feet just down the road. It's also very consistent in many capacities with the Four Seasons Hotel and the office towers. It's also just down the road. If you look at the corridor, the Bayfront 101 corridor, this project with the hotel, the sports club, and the offices actually fits quite well with whatever else is in that corridor today, and it will build upon that. There were also other claims about traffic impacts. Many of those are exaggerated. This project's done extensive work to mitigate those through traffic demand management, as well as other commitments in shuttles and vans and all sorts of other approaches to minimize that traffic. And in fact, the consultants that Menlo Park hired, again, our consultants, we hired them, we selected them, we managed them, came back and said that the traffic impacts, for the most part, were not significant, and in the cases where they were significant, substantial steps were taken to mitigate them. So again, and I want to stress this, most of the analysis, actually all of the analysis, which by the way has been over 3 or 4 years already in the process, indicates minor impacts and substantial benefits. The pros far outweigh the cons in this case on everything from traffic to environment to revenue. This is a project that really can contribute to the long-term success of Menlo Park in helping us on a number of fronts. There's also a comment that the current sales tax of that area will be lost, or perhaps somehow we won't be offsetting that. The sales tax numbers for this particular area that's being displaced right now is measured in the tens of thousands per year. It's a relatively small number, far outweighed, at least 2 orders of magnitude by the expected overall increase of what we're going to see from the new project. This is a refresh. It's time to move on. Please join me in voting yes on Measure T.
Hello, my name is Paul Colaci. I'm a former mayor and council member of Menlo Park. Thank you for joining us. I oppose Measure T, and to learn more about the project, visit our website at www.factsnothype.org. For Eastern Menlo Park's general plan imagines high-tech uses such as Geron, a biotech company that recently won FDA approval to begin human treatments based on stem cell research. These kinds of firms often produce sales tax without generating much traffic or adding pressure to build housing. In the boom of the 90s, high-density offices began crowding out these firms. High-tech firms often generate significantly more sales tax than offices, which generate no sales tax at all. Both uses generate equivalent property tax. In 2001, analysis conducted by city staff from sales tax data showed that if large high-density offices continued to replace high-tech uses, city revenues would decline and city costs would increase. The net loss would reach nearly $2 million per year, but if high-tech uses expanded, revenue would increase by more than $6 million per year. 2 recessions and many councils later, sales tax revenue has been cut in half from its peak and has never recovered. Despite our warnings, Menlo Park has never tried to preserve or expand its sales tax base in Eastern Menlo Park. The proposed Bohannon project continues this destructive trend. This project will not solve any near-term or employment problems. According to Business Week, there is empty space equivalent to 15 Empire State Buildings in Silicon Valley. The project EIR confirms the developer can't obtain financing to build. That's why he negotiated up to 20 years. The project would create office buildings, not office jobs. It will only create future construction jobs. The guarantee payment is not indexed for inflation. Because construction and payment can be delayed for 15 years before the 20-year payment period, inflation can reduce the value of the payout by more than 75%. And it's a fact, the project is 1.7 million square feet of development, not 900,000 square feet of development. Menlo Park doesn't count parking structures. The project proposes 3 6-story parking structures that are approximately 800,000 square feet. They are equivalent to 18 football fields. The parking structures alone are larger than the entire University Circle hotel office project in East Palo Alto. Traffic at the site will increase by 5-fold. The project is close to residential neighborhoods in Menlo Park. It is only 600 feet away from the suburban Park neighborhood and equally close to residential neighborhoods in Redwood City and in Atherton. Noise in these neighborhoods from excessive traffic on Marsh Road will exceed the city's noise ordinance. Nearby residents will hear traffic noise equivalent to a vacuum cleaner at 10 feet. The project is not sustainable. It creates a dozen significant irreversible environmental impacts for noise, traffic, emissions, water, and air quality. Here's what Mayor Klein said. It's not a NIMBY thing. These are true impacts. There's going to be some serious impacts. The project is not near transit. It increases regional population by 3,000 and increases housing demand by 1,800 units, but provides no housing. Menlo Park didn't raise the bar for clean construction. It lowered the bar by adopting lax emissions standards proposed by the developer rather than those proposed by its Green Ribbon Committee. The project and the buildings are not carbon neutral. Both greatly increase emissions. Therefore, the project is not compliant with the city's Climate Action Plan or AB State 32 goals, which call for emissions reductions by 2020. And the traffic reduction program will not reduce trips by 17 or 20%. It's a standard program. 10% of the claimed trip reductions result from eliminating a calculation error in the city's counting method, not from the program. Menlo Park's new Rosewood Hotel is 1/6 as large as the Bohannon Hotel, yet it produces about 70% of the revenue. Before proposing the hotel, Stanford proposed a multi-story Westin Hotel that was correctly rejected by Menlo Park residents. Voters should reject the Bohannon Hotel for a smaller one. There are cleaner, less harmful, and more sustainable ways to generate revenue. and there is time for planning. Menlo Park should finish its plan for East Menlo Park before reconsidering this project. I urge you to vote no on Measure T. Thank you for listening.